Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Arizona Commission for the Deaf and the Hard of Hearing Facebook Live event. We're here with our own Troy Kotsur.
Hello.
And Troy's from our own backyard. He grew up here in Arizona. He's an Arizona native, and we're so excited to have you here, Troy. I'll introduce myself. I'm Kim Minard, and I'm the deaf specialist with the Arizona Commission for the Deaf and the Hard of Hearing. We're thrilled that you've joined us today. I'd like to tell you a little bit about Troy. You may have seen the movie CODA that he was recently a star in. I hope you've seen it. You can comment below if you have. And Troy's actually been in a number of movies and television shows. Criminal Minds might be one of my favorites, and I know that you were in that show as well. He's also directed and produced movies as well. He has some exciting things to share, but you'll have to wait until the end to get that information. So be sure you watch the full interview. Troy, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hello, Kim. Thank you so much for having me join this wonderful group today. I'm extremely excited to be a part of this. And it's really exciting that most of you have seen the film CODA. You know, it has been just such a great place, a level to arrive after struggling and working hard for so many years. And I'm extremely excited to arrive at this level, you know, as someone coming from Arizona. And these are my people, and I love all of you in my hometown.
CODA has wonderful representation from the deaf community with the 3 deaf actors, and I really have to applaud everyone involved in that. And we hope that Troy will win some awards. We hope that all of them will win awards as a result of this movie.
It's extremely exciting to have more than one deaf actor on screen. Most of you know Marlee Matlin. And Marlee Matlin has just shined for so many years. And she was a game changer. And she was insisting that they brought authentic deaf actors into this role. And so Daniel Durant and I joined the project. And you don't often see a male deaf actor who actually is deaf. And so you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely, and it's something I'd like to comment about. I know that Marlee Matlin played a huge role in advocating for this deaf representation in the cast, not just a person playing the role of a deaf person, but an actual deaf person. And that's where you and Daniel came in, so that's wonderful. How did you feel about that process?
Well, I feel blessed. You know, we were pointed to the right people, the right story, at the right time, with the right director, and the right characters. And I would not be involved in this project without Sean Heder, the director, as well as Marlee Matlin, because the two of them were really fighting to bring authenticity to these deaf roles. And that's something to remember and to consider. You know, I would not be here right now without the two of them.
It really is a blessing to have those hearing allies too, who understood the importance of it. We need the support of the hearing allies. Now, after this experience, I'm sure that you have the goal of advocating for the future of deaf actors and actresses. What is your plan going forward?
Yeah, it's funny that you asked me that because I've been thinking about it a lot. I'm really hoping to find a way to support and focus and encourage young deaf people who are interested in writing, directing, producing, acting, and everything involved with that, with film and TV. Because today, you know, deaf people have more and more access to technology, and we're depending on technology more and more, because you can actually use your smartphones to make a movie too, a short film or a feature film length. And deaf people out there are thrilled to finally have this opportunity. But my question is, you know, do you understand how to write scripts? Do you understand how to direct? Do you understand how to create a vision that can be convincing for the audience? And sometimes we create stories just for the deaf community, but don't forget that we can create stories that are accessible to the hearing community too. And don't forget about, and just like hearing writers shouldn't forget about the deaf audience. So really we need to collaborate. And that's a beautiful thing about the film CODA, is that it's a wonderful step forward. Because a CODA character is the center of the story, being between two deaf worlds, the deaf world and the hearing world. And the CODA is right in the middle and navigating her journey in that way. And so it's a great way to introduce the general public to deaf culture and ASL and so on. And it's just a great step forward. And I hope that this situation will affect the deaf youth to have more opportunities and create a vision of acting and directing or writing or music or whatever, you name it.
I 100% agree, and I'm excited to see that happen. Okay, I'd like to talk a little bit about yourself and your family history. I know that you've signed throughout your life growing up, is that correct?
So first off, I'd like to thank my father. You know, I was born deaf into a hearing family, and I had older siblings, and they told me a story when I was born. And my mother was cleaning, and she accidentally dropped a pot or a pan onto the floor, and it made a loud clattering sound. And my mother looked down, and she saw that I was sitting on the floor, but I didn't react to the loud noise. And she was stupefied, and she hit the pans together to create even more noise, and they found out that something was wrong. And so my mother let my father know and said, "It seems like our child is deaf. Oh no." And remember that that time was in the 60s and 70s. And remember what that time was like. You know, as far as the hospitals and audiology and the lack of deaf people and so on, and trying to fix deaf people and deafness being a big issue. But I'm so grateful to my father. When my father found out his son was deaf, there was a school for the deaf, Phoenix Day School. And I was placed into Phoenix Day School, which was my first exposure to ASL. And ASL, just to let you know, saved my life, because ASL taught me how to understand English. ASL taught me how to understand mathematics, history. ASL taught me how to read and so on. And ASL, it just really helped me succeed. And it helped me bring me to where I am now because of ASL.
I agree. And you know, our journeys were somewhat similar. And nowadays they have hearing screening tests right at birth, and it helps prevent language deprivation and provide resources to those families that have identified that their children are deaf. And back then, we didn't have those resources, and people weren't really sure what to do when they discovered that they had a deaf child.
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment. Something that I'll never forget is the VR support for college and schooling and so on. I had to take an audiology test. And so I showed up, I sat down, and I'll never forget this moment. The woman came up and put headphones on, and I had to raise my hand up or down if I could hear the sounds or not. And after the test was over, we sat down, and the woman was making these facial expressions like this. And she put her hand on my leg. And she was saying, "I am so sorry that you can't hear." And my response was, "That's good. I'm glad. I'm happy to be deaf. There's nothing wrong with being deaf. I always sleep really well." And she was like, "Oh, that's very good, that attitude." Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar. And I'm sure that the deaf audience members that are watching that have experienced that same thing are also connecting with your experience. But yes, I think that staying positive also is a way to spread awareness, and that's fine. I feel the same way. There's no difference between deaf and hearing people.
I'm really blessed because when my father found out I was deaf, he became involved. He started taking ASL classes, and this is in the 70s. So imagine that.
Kudos to him.
And my dad actually tried to set up a baseball team as a coach because they put me in with hearing kids. And my father also wanted to set up a soccer team for the deaf to get together. And so from different cities, even cities far away. And so my father actually made that happen. But our team sucked, just to let you know. Our soccer team was terrible. But the important thing is that we were together and we were able to socialize and that the parents were involved. And it was just extremely important. And so I'm so blessed to have a good father in that way. And I'm lucky.
Absolutely. And we know that 90% of parents of deaf children are hearing, and only 10% are actually deaf themselves.
Right. Well, in general, it doesn't matter if your parents are deaf or hard of hearing or so on. When your child is born deaf, what do? You make sure that the parents are involved in that child's life. It doesn't matter if they have a cochlear implant or if they sign. And if they have a cochlear implant, just make sure that you ignore ASL. You should blend the two together and the two experiences together. And that way, those kids have more options in languages. And, it's a gift. Many don't realize that. All the bullshit about ideology and the industry and the money, you need to set that aside.
Now, I'm sure the audience is dying to know the answer to this big question. Where was the start of your acting career, and how did you get involved in the first place?
Again, remember the time of year was in the 1970s, and there was no closed captioning on TV. There was no access. And what was best for me was watching Tom and Jerry, the cartoon. I really enjoyed it when I was a kid. The cat and the mouse, and they're chasing each other. And understand that there was no dialogue. There was just acting. And my deaf eyes were thrilled to see that. I was extremely engaged watching Tom and Jerry. It was my favorite. And the next day, I got on the bus. And the bus would take me from kindergarten to 12th grade. It was that route. And because deaf people tended to live quite far away from school, and so I'd have to take the bus quite a long way. And so during that bus ride, remember, there was no cell phones back then. The technology wasn't there. So we would tell stories, and we would explain what had happened in the Tom and Jerry episode from the day before. And some kids didn't have TVs. And so I would sign Tom and Jerry to them.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it was really interesting to just see their eyes shine and see these kids become excited. And now there was something missing linguistically. And, I'm here to create stories now, to recognize it's not for me, it's for other people, it's for children, it's for their future.
Absolutely. I agree. It's important to have access to language and to be able to sign with others. And it's wonderful that you brought that awareness to your experience, knowing that some of them didn't have access to TV or communication. All right, my next question that I'm sure people are dying to know. I know that you were involved with the Star Wars Mandalorian series, which is signed this way. I just learned the sign for Mandalorian.
Yeah, they have that mask like this, and that's why the sign is like that.
Now, Troy actually created the signs that are used, which they refer to as Tuscan Sign Language. And I was doing a little bit of research because I'm not super familiar with some of the history of Star Wars. And I was learning a little bit more about the language and was surprised to discover that they actually have a Facebook page dedicated to Tuscan Sign Language. And what's wonderful about it is that it spreads awareness about signed languages. And I've been very impressed with that. And I see that it does impact the awareness of sign language generally around the world. And I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit more about that experience.
It's interesting. The important thing is that there's one person named Kim Richards. And Kim Richards was the first assistant director, the first AD, and backing up an extremely important director named Dave Filoni. So she was backing up a director named Dave Filoni. And Dave was a creator of the Clone Wars. And he had been a creator of Clone Wars for many years. And so I got to meet him, and it was so cool. He's like a cowboy. He's got his cowboy hat on. And he's got that attitude. And he came up to me, and looking at him, he didn't look like a director, but he was dressed like a cowboy. And it was a really interesting experience. So I was able to chat with him, and the importance was to blend these two cultures together to create this communication. Like cowboys and Indians, those two worlds and how those two groups could communicate. And so I sat down and I thought about it, and I wanted to make clear that Tuscan Sign Language was related to their specific environment, culture, linguistics, and their clothing. Like they wear these gloves, and so the signs had to be a bit limited. It was almost like folks who had low language. It was a bit of a challenge for me. And so, ASL has a very high level of communication. So what my hope is that we could apply their signs to the world that they incorporate and allow them to connect to it. So that was my hope in creating Tuscan Sign Language.
Yes, if audience members haven't watched The Mandalorian, definitely take the time to watch it. I need some more time so I can watch all of the episodes from start to end.
And soon we're in the fall, there'll be more, and you'll be able to see a lot more Tuscan Sign Language in the fall in the next season. So it's really important to subscribe to Disney Plus to watch it.
Yeah, I'm sure many of the Star Wars geeks or fanatics, not sure how to label it, but I'm sure many of them are looking forward to that next season. I have an audience member that has asked a question that was the same that I planned to ask as well. The question is, when you are on a movie set or a film set, how is it that you communicate with the other actors? Are many of them motivated to learn sign language and communicate directly?
Definitely, 100%. It's interesting you asked me that, because on the first day, I noticed that the crew were acting a bit nervous. They had never had the experience working with a deaf actor before. They never had. And so by the last day, we were all working together. Everyone was signing. And they loved learning the dirty signs, of course. But that's the best way to learn that was the best way to learn for them.
Naturally. I did see another interview with Daniel on Instagram talking about that same experience and how you guys became such close friends.
It was important. It's important for me to work with people. You know, I actually forgot that they were hearing. I forgot who was deaf on set. And, you know, I don't have time to think about that separation. The important thing is that people work together, they collaborate, and they use each other's talents to create the final product and to make it happen, period. Because, you know, deaf, hearing, and so on. And no, throw that all aside. People are people, and it's a beautiful approach, a beautiful perspective.
I agree. You want to look at the person as an individual, whether or not they're hearing or deaf doesn't matter. And we don't want that to be a barrier to creating that communication or that relationship.
You know, I'd like to add something. The first day was one way, and by the end, we were like, oh, I'm gonna miss you, and let's keep in touch. And I saw the change, and it was really amazing to see that happen. You know, the difference between the awkwardness of the first day and just the love on the last day. Oh, let's keep in touch. I'll miss you. You know, it was so beautiful. It was a beautiful process to work with this group of people.
Oh, I'm absolutely sure. Let's see, my next question here for you. Is about role models. Who do you look up to as a deaf role model?
When I was younger, when I was about 17 or 18, I had never seen a movie that had a deaf actor until I saw Children of a Lesser God. And Marlee Matlin was in that film. And I was thrilled to see full ASL on screen, just signing. And that was in the 80s. And since then, you know, we've been waiting to see more. And my perspective is that Hollywood was afraid because they didn't know what to do regarding deaf actors. You know, they had big name A-listers that might become deaf, and could they play a deaf actor? And there was a lot of controversy regarding that. So when I was auditioning for CODA, it was about a year and a half later, I didn't hear anything. And it was obvious that there was behind the scene controversy and politics going on. And so then I got in, I'm here, and I'm so blessed that happened.
Absolutely, and thanks to the producers and everyone involved that made that happen.
Right, I would not have been able to do it without Marlee Matlin and our director, Sean Heder. And the two of them, they're so powerful. Without the two of them, I would not be here. You would not be seeing me here right now.
Thank you, Marlee Matlin. Hopefully you're watching too. Now, you mentioned Marlee Matlin as a deaf role model, and then you ended up working with her on the same cast. How did that feel?
I felt blessed because Marlee would come and see my plays when I was acting on stage at Deaf West Theater. And it just so happened we would bump into each other from time to time, and we knew each other for about 20 or 25 years. And with CODA, we saw each other, we looked at each other, and we knew each other. You know, it was just, we had the trust, we had that relationship because I understood her role, she understood my role, and what my job was and what hers was, and we just collaborated. And we knew that we wanted to give it our best shot for that film.
Absolutely. When I watched CODA, I could see the chemistry and the good working relationship that you both have. It's rare to see that on the big screen, and it's great that you've been friends for a while now. I definitely have some favorite scenes from the movie, but I'll encourage people to watch the movie themselves first. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's one thing I wanted to say that was the biggest challenge was the love scene with Marley.
That's funny you mentioned that.
You know, I'm like, I'm making love with an Oscar Award winner.
Okay, are we ready for some exciting news? It has to do with signing animation. And I saw that it includes some deaf and hard of hearing animators, and I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure. About a year ago, they asked me, and I was thrilled because I love animation. This animation is obviously deaf friendly because deaf people are so visual and we can really enjoy beautiful animation. And so I wanted to incorporate ASL and sign language into it as a new experiment. I created a Kickstarter to raise some money for it. And I wanted to see that because I would love to see hearing and deaf people use their skills as artists and work together. And that's what we've been working on. And so you can visit our website. It's signinganimation.com, and folks can get an idea of what we're working on. So my goal is that I'd like to see signed animation, and it's a new experiment that we're working on. And there already are a few deaf animators out there, but not enough. I'd like there to be complete characters and directly signed. And that's what we're trying to do. It's an experiment that we're working on right now.
Oh, it's so exciting. And I really look forward to seeing that more in the future. And I think it's really going to appeal to the younger generation as well. They are so advanced when it comes to technology, graphic design, and animation that it just blows me away. That digital world is here and it'll involve them as well.
That's true. I agree.
I'm fascinated with art and animation, and I look forward to that being more released in the future. So be sure you all in the audience check it out as well. All right, our final question from me is related to the new film. I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, yes. I'm extremely excited for a new project that I will be working on called Flash Before the Bang. And Flash Before the Bang is a story about the Oregon School for the Deaf. And there was a track team. And so, they were struggling and competing, and they end up getting into the state championship. And, it's a small deaf school, and they had to compete against all hearing schools. And they competed and ended up as state champions. And hearing people were just shocked. And the deaf team was like, yep, that's us. And there was 8 deaf runners who will be played by young actors. And I'm going to play the coach. And the assistant coach will be played by Niall DeMarco. And Deanne Bray will play the athlete's mother, the runner's mother. So I'm really excited to see more and more stories out there and other deaf actors, just so people out there and the next generation can be given opportunities. And, I'm not going to live forever, right? So I feel responsible to make opportunities happen and carry on this tradition so that young people can continue it. And I'd like to give opportunities to the deaf talent out there. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Ah, that's such exciting news. And to have these deaf role models and additional actors out there. My understanding is that you also wrote and direct the film, or that there was a deaf director?
Yes, a deaf producer and a deaf director collaborating with the hearing team. Paul Films is its name. And Pearl Street with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. So Pearl Street is Matt Damon and Ben Affleck's company, and they've now attached to our film. And it's a really big deal. And so it's a great step forward. And if you'd like more info, you can look on Facebook. It's Flash Before the Bang on Facebook. And why it's called Flash Before the Bang is because the deaf runners at the starting line, the hearing runners would have to wait for the starter pistol and then run. But the deaf runners would wait for the flash before the bang of the starting pistol and begin to run. And so that's why the film is called Flash Before the Bang.
Yeah, and my understanding is that it's also a true story.
Oh, yes, it's a true story.
I'm so looking forward to it.
You know, films with sports, underdog sports stories are always exciting. They're always good.
Oh, yes, they're so inspiring. And then we add the component of having deaf actors. That's wonderful. All right, now we're going to move on to some questions from the audience. Can you think of any favorite or memorable scenes from the movie CODA and why it was one of your favorites?
You know, I always lived, well, every time I went to Broadway or any play or any film, I always felt that it was silence, you know, the same thing over and over again. And in CODA, there's 30 seconds of silence in the film. And it's finally an opportunity for hearing people to have the deaf experience just for 30 seconds. And look, I'm deaf. I've been deaf for a lifetime.
I agree. When I saw that scene, it was so touching because I share that experience as well. And I felt that way. I've been in plays and musicals and I've sat there in silence.
Same.
Okay, the next question is related to the signing animation. The question is wondering if you can partner with larger organizations using avatars for virtual classrooms or other possibilities. Do you see an opportunity for that?
Really, the point is a union to have opportunities. You know, Avatar, to have that opportunity is amazing. It's a big production, but I'm really hoping that they can have the influence to make that happen. You know, it's like the domino effect. And that's something to consider.
Okay, next question. Your on-screen connection with both Daniel and Amelia as your children in the CODA movie seemed very moving and natural. What was your off-screen time with them like? Were you still staying in contact with each other, and are you still now? And how was that experience impacting each other on the set?
Well, Marley and myself have been actors, and we had an understanding. And we really encouraged Amelia Jones, who plays the CODA character in the film, to come with us, even when we were offset, and just watch a football game and invite her over to eat dinner and just have fun and enjoy time with us. And it was our belief to encourage Amelia to socialize with us as deaf actors all the time, even on weekends when we weren't working during the day. I'd make sure that we would involve her. And so we had so much support. We had 4 CODA interpreters that were on set, and we had 2 other supporting deaf eyes that were there as well, who were just fantastic. They worked on Broadway and so on. Allison Wales and Ann Tomasetti are the 2 of them. And they were the deaf eyes on set, giving us feedback as the director was working and giving the director feedback. And we all worked together. And we all wanted to do what was best for the movie and give it our best. So we did, actually.
I think that's so important to really be able to embody the character. I know that we've talked about your new movie coming, but I'm wondering if you have additional goals in the future, if you plan to return to Deaf West, or if you have other projects ahead over the next 5 to 10 years.
Well, I've been having a few offers regarding various projects, but I haven't made a final decision yet. I need to read all of these scripts. And the important thing is to feel like I'm a good fit for that specific character and I'm a good fit for that story. And so my manager and I have been going through that and discussing it back and forth. And I'm sure that there'll be opportunities opening up out there. You know, I'm willing to take these opportunities as long as they make sense. And I feel like I'm the right fit for the role or any story that just feels right.
Thank you. I'm looking to see if we have some more questions from the viewers. We have a new question that just popped up. If you were going to share some words of wisdom with the audience related to the deaf, hard of hearing, or deafblind community members who want to get involved in theater and acting, what would be your words of wisdom?
Good question. There's not only one word of wisdom. Person who's wise, is you. If you feel like you have limitations or boundaries or adversity and no one is stopping you, no one can take these opportunities away from you, you're the one who needs to believe in yourself. And that's what happened to me. You know, I felt really funny. There was something inside of me that I felt was bothering me for about 30 years. And I knew something good would happen to me. And I had years and years of struggle. And then now through the film CODA, I'm here where I am today. And, you know, I had to be the one who believed in myself. And so you need to be the one who believes in yourself. No one is stopping you, period. It doesn't matter the time. It doesn't matter your age. Really, you can make it happen. You know, life is short.
You're right. Okay, and on the same topic, what might be some words of wisdom that you have for the parents of these children or of these people that want to get into an acting career?
I have a daughter who's a CODA. And I happen to be an actor. I think of myself as a deaf person, a visual person, and sometimes I forget that my daughter is hearing and she can hear. And if your parents are deaf and you happen to have hearing children who are CODAs, I plead of you, pay attention to those CODAs and their desires and their dreams. Maybe they want to play the guitar. Maybe they want to sing. Maybe they want to act or play football or basketball or baseball. Don't ignore them. Don't ignore their desires. I know it's hard for some deaf parents because, you know, communicating with the hearing world that the CODA inhabits is just over and over again. It's the same thing over and over again. And so, you know, don't think about yourself. Pay attention to your CODA children because many of them are looking for young CODAs. They'd like to sing or act or play sports. And they just happen to be CODAs. And just make sure that as parents, you involve yourselves and support them wherever they may go in their journey. And I know it's hard for deaf parents sometimes to communicate with the hearing world, that the CODAs inhabit. But when you make that sacrifice and support your kids, in exchange, you're going to feel really good.
Apparently, there's some buzz out in the community that you might be nominated for an Academy Award, an Oscar. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Buzz?
Well, you know, I never really think about that. I just want to give my best. I want to give my best performance for audiences. I want to do my best for these stories. And, you know, if I'm nominated for an award, sometimes I don't get the intention behind it because, oh, I really like this actor, but other people like this actor and they might vote for him and others might vote for other actors. And I don't really understand that definition of best and their interpretation of that. So really, you need to give your best to satisfy the audience. And it doesn't matter what people think. It doesn't matter if you win or not, but it's extremely important to tell a good story and put it out there.
I haven't received any more questions from the viewers. If there are any more that would like to be posted, I see one that just came in. Now that we're starting to see more deaf youth in the field of acting, can you comment a little bit? I'm sorry, not commenting. I'm wondering if you or others are starting to mentor young actors as the trailblazers in this field. Have you been mentoring any young deaf actors in the field?
Yes, actually. I was mentoring in a show called Sue Thomas, FBI. And there was a lot of young people that I happened to meet through that show in Canada. And it was back in 2003 or so. And it was really exciting to see these young people and encourage them. And even today, if there's anyone who needs mentoring, I'd be extremely thrilled because I just want to make sure that these actors are encouraged and pushed in the right direction. Because this is a start and the momentum is building. And I hope more doors will start to open. And people can see that it's just deaf actors don't just move their hands around. You need to look that that deaf actor is a skilled and trained actor who has worked on their craft.
I think it's wonderful that you're advocating. And I think we need to bring that awareness. And we can tell people that are interested to contact you.
Yes, now technology is better. We can use smartphones. You can make movies with your phone. I mean, come on.
Absolutely. The other thing about technology is that a lot of people are starting to realize that it doesn't matter if a person is deaf or hearing, that they might still have the skills necessary. And you have to look at the bigger picture, which has been key for the deaf community in connecting with the real world in that way.
Definitely. I completely agree. Because some deaf people are talented editors, but they're afraid to be in the picture. But they might be a great editor or afraid to be in front of the camera and they become editors. And then other deaf folks might prefer to be directors. And some are both actor, writers, and so on. There's just talent out there. But I'd like to see the deaf community working in their different skills in these various roles that are available. And so I hope that the new generation will realize that there's work in front of and behind the camera. And I know that a lot of deaf people are hungry. They've been asking me, hey, I want to act, I want to write, and so on. And the desire is out there to work. And we really need to support them and make sure they're trained appropriately.
Absolutely. I think some more questions have come in, so let me just take a quick look. We have a comment from a viewer just thanking you for the interview, saying that it's been a wonderful interview. So thank you to the viewers for watching this. And some people are also asking for the official website for the signing animation, and we will type that in the comments to make that available to viewers as well. We'll make sure that we have an active link to that, as well as the Flash Before the Bang Facebook group. Is there an official website for Flash Before the Bang?
There's a Facebook page.
Okay, we'll be sure to share that. There's a question about any final words that you have or anything that you'd like to share with Arizona viewers or other viewers who might be watching. Really anything.
Make sure to support the Arizona football team. Go Cards. I'm just kidding. I'm a big football and basketball fan. I love the Phoenix Suns and I love baseball too. And I'm sure that we can support Arizona sports in that way. I really hope that awareness continues to increase regarding the deaf community. And many deaf folks out there have skills. And so, you know, there's not any limitations. If you look at the limitations, then we are more than limited. We can do so much. And I hope that we can collaborate and we can have better services for everyone to better serve the deaf community regarding education, sign language, and so on. So I'm excited and I'm very proud to be a part of and here in the state of Arizona and in this city.
Absolutely. And how great it has been for us to see an actor who's originally from Arizona. We see him from Los Angeles and New York, and it's been wonderful to have you here. And as Troy said, believe in yourself to make it happen. Don't give up. We know you viewers can do it if that's what you want. I think it's a good time to go ahead and wrap up this interview. Again, Troy, I'd like to thank you. I'd like to thank the viewers for watching, everyone who's joined us. We look forward to watching your career going forward.
Thank you so much for having me. And thank you to the interpreters. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Jasmine. And thank you to Justin, the other interpreter, for making everything work out. And thank you, Kim. Thank you for making it all happen.
My pleasure. Oh, goodness. I guess one more question snuck right in there. So this will be our last. We were talking about working on the Mandalorian. And you had talked about the mask and the full costume. How did you work around that?
That's a great question. You know, deaf people, we depend on our eyes. When you put on a costume, you feel like your vision is reduced and you might have to turn your head to have a complete view of something. And sometimes the interpreter would have to come really close and I'd tell the interpreter, hey, you need to move back so I can see the complete signs and have that perspective. And now I understand a bit what it's maybe like to have Usher syndrome and to have that field of vision. And it was quite a challenge. And it was really interesting for me to experience. But now I know what to do moving forward. When we were on set, there was another Tusken Raider and other Tusken Raiders around. The interpreter was looking and didn't know which Tusken Raider was deaf. And I had to wave my hand and the interpreter would recognize which one I was and begin to sign. And our weapons, you know, we had these bullets across our chest. And so I just used one sash of bullets to signify that I was the deaf Tusken Raider. That's how I let the interpreter know. And so we were always making improvements from the beginning, you know, and we could work things out and make tweaks to adjust any situation to make it better.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, now is the official wrap up for the interview. I'd like to thank you all for joining. Take care, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.